And a very good evening to you. Welcome.
You put the waffles in the oven to warm.
Oh, shut up. Listen to him, honestly. Let's mute him. Hello, everyone. Let's start again. Rob here, Pro Synth Network Live. It's episode 308. We've got a brilliant guest for you tonight. More on that in just a moment. But welcome to the show. I hope you're well. I hope you've had a fine week. I know I have, because I was at SynthEast in Norwich at the weekend, along with Mr. Jervis. And a whole bunch of other people, loads of people rocked up with Pro Synth Network t-shirts, which was amazing to see. We'll talk about that a little bit, possibly in the second half of the show. But as I said, we've got a great guest for you. And if you are a first-time viewer, first-time subscriber, maybe you've come along especially to see our guest, then welcome. And I hope you stick around, hope you enjoy it. And if you like it, do hit that subscribe button. And make sure that you give us a thumbs up if you like what you see, or a thumbs down if you don't. We like to know these things. But please do subscribe to the channel, and then if you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified of every show that we do, even though we are pretty regular on a Friday night at this time. And of course, if you know somebody who would really enjoy this kind of thing, then please do share the link and spread the word. And another way you can spread the word, of course, is by buying some of that merchandise, of course, which most of us are wearing something today. But you've got things like, these water bottles that are lovely, and we've got what have we got here? We've got coasters with the logo on, and there's all sorts of lovely goodies. And we're able to take just a few pennies off the top of each sale, and that helps fill the coffers and pay all the fees that we have. And you get that warm, fuzzy feeling that you're supporting this lovely, lovely channel. Another way you can support us, of course, is through our Patreon page, prosynthnetwork.com/Patreon. If you go over there, for a minimum of $2 a month, you get access to a whole bunch of lovely goodies, including presets for your hardware and software synthesizers. There are decent sampler instruments in there as well. There's video content that's exclusive and or ad-free. So you get lots of benefits, and it only costs you a minimum of $2 a month. We've had a whole bunch of people sign up for that just recently, and thanks to Cherry Audio, who I think are behind most of that, because they gave us a big up in their newsletter this week, which was really, really nice of them. And so I saw a nice little surge in there of people presumably going after some of the new patches we've got for their SH Max plug-in synth. So please do fill your boots while you're over there, and you can stop that at any time and start up again at any time. So we really do appreciate your support. And of course, the other way you can support us is through YouTube super chats and super stickers, or you can become a YouTube channel member. Again, minimum $2 a month to become a channel member. And again, you get all of that free stuff, and the ad-free stuff, and the patches and the samples and all that kind of stuff as well. Just ask Oscar Tennant 1473, who became a YouTube member, along with Ronnie Moller 4582. They also became a YouTube member, so they'll know the benefits, and you can know the benefits too if you want to join up to that. And you can also help throughout the show. You can donate through Super Chat and Super Stickers, or if you're watching on Catch Up, you can hit that thanks button, just like Andrew did. And there you go. You can make a donation, no matter how big or small. We appreciate every single one of those, because it all helps to keep us going and keeps us off the streets on a Friday night, which is always a good thing. Right, what else have we got for you? So, let me just remind you that we've also got a Discord channel, prosynthnetwork.com/Discord, so you can chat with us and other viewers throughout the week. You don't have to just wait for Friday nights in the chat rooms. You can also find us on all of the social media, or most of the social media ones, the ones that we like to use, which are mostly Facebook and YouTube, but we're also on Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, and bizarrely still TikTok. I must shut that down because we just do nothing on there. But of course, we have a guest this week. We'll come to them in just a moment. But if you have a question throughout the show, please preface your question in the chat with a big capital Q, and that helps me pick it out and put it into the question bucket, and then we'll pull those out as we come to those and ask the questions throughout the show. So just remember to put that in front. That helps me with my aging eyesight pick them all out. Right, I think we are done with all the formalities. Let's bring in the panel before we come to our very special guest this week. Let's go all the way up to somewhere in Scotland. I don't really know exactly where you are, Scotty. I know I wouldn't want you to give the exact location away because you've got a studio full of equipment, but are you up at the Highlands or the Lowlands or somewhere in between?
I'm kind of in the Midlands of Scotland.
The Midlands of... They've got a Birmingham up there, have they?
Sort of Dundee to Perth area. That's kind of
Oh,
where
I know.
I'm at.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
So,
How are you,
it's
sir?
sort of middle of the road. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm doing well. It's been a steady old week this week, which is good. I think forum is done. I'm just going through the sort of patch banks for that now. So
Yes,
that should be released Monday, I would think. It was supposed to be this Monday, but I know what I'm like. I'm just too picky at times and end up binning things that probably don't need to be binned, but patch-wise, I mean, not keyboards.
Of course,
yeah, so that's kept me steady this week. That and tutorials as well. So it's been steady away. It's fine.
Yeah.
And the weather's starting to improve finally, which is great.
Oh, glad it is for you. It's miserable down here.
Oh, really? No, it was really sunny here today. It was a really nice day.
We had about a day and a half of that big orange thing in the sky, and then it disappeared again today, and it started raining again. Never mind. Anyway, good to see you, sir. It feels like we've been talking all day today, but
I know.
I enjoy that, so that's good. Good stuff. Let's move across on my list anyway to Mr. Andrew Longhurst. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hello.
Well?
How are you? Yeah, good.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Been a mad week. Like Scott, we seem to be designing lots of sounds at the moment. So I've almost finished an entire new bank for a forthcoming, and I've been designing some string sounds for an album I'm working on. I've got videos that I've been editing, and I'm just planning out what I'm going to do at SynthSouthwest. So it's been a busy old week, and I managed to sit out in the garden with the ELZ1 for a couple of hours on Wednesday or whenever it was. It was gorgeous.
It was
really nice.
It was kind of warm, wasn't it?
Yeah. Love that
Very
machine.
strange. Yeah,
Love
it is
that
good.
machine.
It's a lovely little box of tricks. Well, good to see you,
It
sir.
is.
And let's move across on the list once more. Again, it feels like I've seen this guy, well, just the other day. It was literally just the other day, wasn't it? We can't hear you because you're muted. Hang on a minute. There we go. Unmute. There you go. You're better now.
I am better. Well, I'm better, but it sounds like you've got my cold.
I think we hugged a little too long.
Yeah, it was
that's
that,
what it was.
definitely. But how's your badge? Ooh, hello.
My badges are here. I should have worn them, shouldn't I? But they are right here.
I'm wearing
Look,
it for you. I'll do a little bit of a
that.
close-up later.
So I've hang on. So Jason handed over. Let me just put myself on camera. I need more hands. There you go. There's Jackson and Tom.
Yay!
Lovely little badges. Thank you very much for those.
Oh, very much a pleasure. Yeah, it's almost like I had to pinch myself. It was a week ago today that I would have been now on the way. Oh, in the chip shop.
You're in the chip shop,
laughing
yeah.
with Steve Davis over a conversation on particle science physics with Gaz and Oz from Expert Sleepers. Where else are you going to do that?
Just he blows my mind every time
Yeah,
because you see him and you see 6 times world snooker, 7 times, I don't know, world snooker champion, and then the next thing he's behind a set of modular gear or he's talking nuclear physics.
Well, no, he wasn't. We were laughing at Gaz talking particle physics with Oz, who's got a doctorate in physics. Particle physics, I think.
Thing as well.
I say that, but great, just great weekend. Yeah,
good. Yes, it was. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. We'll have a little retrospective. Now, normally at this point, I would bring in Mr. Kent Spong. He came in before the show. His microphone wasn't working. So he went off and he's not come back. So he might join us again a little while later, but I don't want to waste any more of the time because we've got a brilliant guest for the first half of the show. Somebody who I have long admired. I had his band's name painted. I hand painted it on my bedroom wall. It was up there, and I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing or whether I should be admitting this, but it was up there with my Thompson Twins mural as well, because I had a very diverse musical passion at the time. I had Marillion and Thompson Twins painted on my wall in glorious paint, and it was lovely. I've still got them somewhere. My mum lovingly peeled off the wallpaper when I left home, and then she folded them up, and I still do have them, I think, in my lockup somewhere. But anyway, I have long been an admirer of this gentleman and his work. He's one of those keyboard players in bands who I have admired that have inspired me, along with people like Mick McNeil from Simple Minds. And I have to say a massive thank you to one of our viewers, Ronald Wild, who contacted me a little while back and said, would you like this gentleman to come on your show? And I said, yeah, absolutely would. And he said, let me see if I can make that happen. And he did. ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by the one and the only Mr. Mark Kelly.
Yay! Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the show, Mark. Great to see you. How are you this fine evening?
That was a very big introduction.
You're worthy.
I'm good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice to be on the show.
Excellent. You're kind of a bit of a dab hand at this, maybe not so much live stream, but certainly streaming, because you have your own YouTube channel with your daughter now, don't you?
That's right, yeah. It's called Prog and Progeny. And we've been doing it for a year now. I can't believe it's been a year. But we just, it's basically about, so I wrote an autobiography round about 2020, round about the time you started this channel, when, you know, the whole COVID thing happened. Looking for something to do because we couldn't go to the studio, so I wrote my autobiography, and the podcast is kind of us talking about what's in the book, but a load of other things as well. It kind of just spills into all sorts of stuff, and it's very honest and sometimes difficult for me. It's a bit like a therapy session sometimes. but my daughter Tallulah's really got into the role really well. And we do it every 2 weeks. So Prog and Progeny, check it out.
Yeah, I did, and when I was doing the research for this, I went and had a look through some really interesting topics you guys go through. It's a really good, interesting podcast. And it's always nice to see the father-daughter thing going on as well. So that's, my daughter would not do that at all. Credit to you there. Kent seems to be having some problems getting in. I have sent you the link, Kent, in private chat.
He's messaged in the chat there, Robbie, saying that I am no longer a member of the Synth
That's
network.
weird.
Yeah, much to say.
I will. Oh, okay. Maybe there's been something gone funny with the account. Okay. I will look into that. Anyway, let's crack on. So, Mark, you are, of course, the keyboard player with Marillion, who are, in my opinion, I think in many others' opinions, one of the finest progressive rock bands of the last 40, 50 years. Well, actually, probably not. Say 40 odd years. I don't want to age you too much, because you guys, you joined in the very early 1980s, didn't you? About 81, 82 that you joined.
81, yeah. So it is 45 years. Thereabouts.
Bloody hell!
Wow. And the unremarkable thing is that, apart from the lead singer, which we'll cover a little bit later on, not in massive great depth, but you are still the same band, and you all still play together, and you're still touring to this day. You're recording. I was reading Steve was saying that you're in the middle of recording a new studio album.
We are, yes. We hope to have that out this year, finished and out this year at some point.
Awesome.
But yeah, we're kind of at these days with writing and recording, it kind of overlaps. There's no real, in the old days you would sort of write, rehearse, demo the songs, and then go in the studio and record. But as we've got our own studio and we record everything as we go, quite often the jams that we start off with can end up being part of the finished recording, so
right.
So it's hard to say where we are exactly, but we've got a bunch of songs and we're just gonna hone it down to the best of those to put on the album. That's really what we're doing now.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah, likewise. You're fan-funded as well, aren't you? You were the first band to be fan-funded? Yeah, fan-funded.
Yes.
Yeah,
we kind of invented crowdfunding. So not calling it that, because I don't know who came up with the name crowdfunding, but it wasn't until about 3 or 4 years after we did the first crowdfunded album back in 2001.
Yeah.
So it was a point in the band's career where we was kind of at the end of we'd gone through the major label, and then we'd down to the independent label, and then we'd come out of the 3 albums of not really going anywhere. And then we thought, this is just, we don't want to sign another record deal. So that was the impetus to come up with a new business model, which turned out to be something that so many other people have used.
Resonates with the whole world. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem with music and industry, is that they don't really meet, do they? You've got a creative set of artists on one side making their art, and then you've got someone trying to monetize it, and that's
exactly
it's conflicted.
Yeah.
So no,
absolutely. So I want to go back to the beginning. So before, obviously joining Marillion, how did you get started with playing keyboards and synthesizers? Were you doing piano lessons? Were you classically trained at all? How did you get into all of that thing?
I was a very late starter, so I started off listening to music probably seriously when I was about 11 or 12, and having an older brother. I'm sure lots of people can relate to this. Older brother who liked progressive rock, mainly things like Yes and Pink Floyd, King Crimson, whatever, and that kind of got me into that sort of music. And then I started to listen to Rick Wakeman and thought, that's such a great thing. I love the sound of those keyboards, especially the Mini Moog, which I had no idea what it was at the time. So by the time I got to about 15, I was like, I want to play keyboards, and persuaded my poor mother to buy me an organ, which wasn't the best of all. It was a Hammond, but that's kind of making it sound better than it was. It was like a transistor Hammond. It wasn't a tone wheel organ. It didn't have a very big keyboard. It had like 3 octaves and a bunch of chord buttons on the end,
Yeah.
But it was kind of got me started, and then very quickly I started, I got better keyboards and joined a band, but it was all for fun. It was all a hobby, and it was quite by chance that I met Marillion and ended up joining them.
How did you guys meet? What was the
So
circumstances?
I was playing in a band. So I grew up in the Romford area in Essex, and I was playing in a band called Chemical Alice, and we used to play this regular gig, and we had quite a following there. And Marillion were the opening act, and the guitarist in my band said, because he'd seen them before, he said, "You'll like this band, you should watch them." And I did like them. He was right. And then after we finished, Fish and Mick, the drummer, came up to me and just basically said, "We want you to join our band." And I'm like, "What about your keyboard player?" And Fish just went, "He's history." I was thinking, what am I getting into here? So I said I'd think about it, and went to see them play again, and then just thought, I'm in. I want to join this band. I loved what they were doing. They were very, very serious about wanting to make it. They were playing pubs, but they were traveling all over the country as much as they could. They would play everywhere and anywhere, and I just got a sense that it was a serious band playing music that I really liked, and thought, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what was your kit like at the beginning of your tenure with Marillion?
Okay, when I joined Marillion, I had a Farfisa Compact Duo,
Right.
which I could only afford because when I bought it, it was broken, but it powered up, and I thought the guy wanted like 30 quid for it, and I was like, okay, it doesn't make any sound, but it's powering up. It can't be that much wrong with it. So, and it turned out it was just a blown transistor in the output stage, which I fixed. It cost me like 30 pence for a new transistor, So I got lucky there, and I had a Yamaha CS15, which was like a Yamaha mono synth.
They're cracking synths.
No, before that, I had a Kawai K100, I think it was called.
Right.
Which was only a single oscillator synth, so it wasn't exactly the big fat sound that you would get from a Moog. But and I very quickly got the Yamaha. I think by the time I joined Marillion, I had the Yamaha CS15 and like a Kroomer electric piano, I think. Nice. And then I inherited the Mellotron that the previous keyboard player was using because the band had bought it, so they hung on to it after they fired him.
It's real prog.
But it was so that was my rig, and then. But then once we got a record deal about a year later, then we really started splashing the cash, and I don't know why, but I think the guy from the record company who was the A&R guy was a huge keyboard fan, and he signed Thomas Dolby, and he was saying to me, "You've got to get an emulator and a PPG," and these keyboards were like cost more than my house. I mean, they were like
PPG, for goodness sake.
Once we picked up some cash from the record label, I managed to get a Jupiter 8, which was about, back then, was like $3,000 worth of keyboard, which I don't know what that would be in today's money. The emulator was about $5,500. The PPG was about $6,000, 2.2. And I had a Korg CX3. What else? And then eventually I bought a Mini Moog secondhand.
Yeah.
Nice.
And replaced the Yamaha. Oh no! Before that, I had a Pro One.
Oh,
Nice.
yes.
Pro ones are
Yeah,
lovely.
which was a nice keyboard actually. I like the Pro one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still got mine.
Yeah. You there's one of our regulars in the chat. He's one of our moderators, Andy Vonal. He has a Pro one, so the fact that he knows you have or had one of those, he will be made up. He's a huge fan. So yeah,
And
they are a
that's
lovely.
my CS15.
Yeah,
My
you've got one of
CS15's
those.
there.
Oh, you
And
got
that
one,
is,
yeah.
I can't quite reach the camera to point it out, but yeah, that is
There,
my
yeah.
favourite synth. It's just, it doesn't sound like anything else, and it's got balls as well as having
Right.
the ability to cut through a mix.
And we were
Very
talking before
nice.
we came on air about the original emulator, because you said you had one of those. What was touring with one of those like? Because they're quite heavy, but obviously you've had a Mellotron, but they were technically a little iffy every now and again. Were you quite brave?
I
to
can
tour with
remember. I can remember because I had like a stack of floppy disks, and they were like the old-fashioned, not the hard plastic cased floppy disk, but literally floppy disks.
5 1/4, yeah.
5 1/4 inch, exactly. So I would literally be loading floppy disks while playing. So I'd have to stop playing with one hand to just grab a floppy disk and chuck it in and load. And it took like, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute to load the sounds. And sometimes it failed. Sometimes it didn't load. And it was a nightmare. But I used it for like a pipe organ sound and a Mellotron. So it kind of replaced the Mellotron. So it's mainly Mellotron strings. And it was pretty good. The flutes were pretty good on it, I remember. But the sampling time was ridiculously short. It was the key. I'm sure people know this. The keyboard was split in two, and you had 2 seconds of sampling for each half of the keyboard. So it was very hard. And trying to loop samples, there was no screen or anything. You just had a couple of sliders you could move around and guess.
And click. You make these lovely clicks, rhythmic clicks. Click, click, click.
Click, click. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you joined Marillion in 81, 82, and then by 83 you've recorded the first Marillion album, Script for a Jester's Tear, which was a remarkable debut. And you're straight in there. You're writing tracks with the entire band. What was that whole experience like of recording your first? Because I presume it was your first album that you'd recorded. With kind of major label support. How was that experience for you in those early days?
It was a bit of a whirlwind. I mean, we literally. So I joined the band at back end of 81, and by September 82 we had a record deal, and then we recorded an EP. It's like the first single with David Hitchcock, and that was a really good experience. But we were under a lot of time pressure because we chose to put a 17-minute song as the B-side for the first single.
Love it.
That's a prog thing.
Well, the thing is, this song Grendel, which we people still kind of go, oh, why don't you play Grendel? I mean, people were shouting it out for years. We don't hear it anymore, thankfully. But it was one of those songs that had hung around from the early days of the band, and we felt it wasn't good enough to be an album track, but we didn't want it to just disappear. So we thought, we'll put it on the first single. But of course, we had a budget and a time limit to record an A-side and a B-side of about 2 weeks, and here we are recording almost an album's worth of material. Yeah. So it was kind of a difficult first recording experience. But then when we got to making Script for a Jester's Tear, we were working with Nick Torber, an engineer called Simon Hanhart was really good, and the Marquee Studios, which was around the back of the Marquee Club. Yeah, and that was for me, that was a wonderful experience. I loved it. Being in the studio was just a total revelation to me. I'd never guessed what it could be like. So it kind of became my favorite place to be.
Yeah, because you guys were quite regulars at the Marquee Club, weren't you? There's you played lots of gigs there, didn't you?
Yeah, it was quite it was quite an important place for us. It actually got us a record deal, really, because we did some demos for EMI, and they were so bad that our manager decided not to play them to the A&R guy, and instead said, "Why don't you come and see them at the Marquee?" And the guy was quite skeptical, and he came to see us at the Marquee. And what he didn't realise, and what people didn't realise at the time, was although we were playing this, what sounded like progressive rock music from the 70s, we had a really young audience. And I think he expected to see a bunch of aging hippies, living their youths, and he comes to the marquee, it's sold out, and it's like, heaving with 16-year-olds all going crazy, So he suddenly went, okay, maybe there is a market for this, a typical record company. I don't get it, but I'm going to sign them because I think we could sell some records here,
Oh, brilliant.
So that was, yes. So that year, 1982, I think we played the marquee about 15 times. We were there every couple of weeks, basically.
Yeah, because that first album was such a big success as well. I mean, that must have been really rewarding because you're this up and coming band. You've built a massive following, as you said. You were selling out clubs with a really sort of vibrant young audience, and I think it went up to number 7 in the charts. The album,
it did, yeah.
And I mean, that's a great debut from what is. Because you remember, prog rock had its kind of time in the sun.
That's what everybody thought, yeah.
And then punk comes along like an enema and just clears everything out. And then there's this new wave of British rock, which, you guys, along with bands like Iron Maiden, who I always think are probably as much prog as they are heavy metal, because
it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, we kind of crossed paths with Iron Maiden a lot over the years, and they were our contemporaries, and we would often see Iron Maiden T-shirts in the audience, and because we didn't see ourselves as being like a heavy band, but we were always covered by Kerrang magazine, and the sort of more metal-based writers would like Marillion. And back then, I didn't really listen to Iron Maiden, and having heard them obviously since, I can see where there's a crossover, because, like you say, they have quite, their music can be quite complicated and quite involved. It's not just a loud noise, and they kind of have more in common with a band like Rush, I suppose, than they did with, say, Motorhead.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of melodic parts in the Iron Maiden stuff. There's a lot of melodic stuff. Yeah,
and of course they were produced by Martin Birch as well, who had worked with Deep Purple and Whitesnake. So there was always a bit more expansive room for things.
Yeah. We almost were produced by Martin Birch, because our A&R guy was
in an alternate universe.
He was keen for us to meet him, and we said no, because we thought, if he produces Iron Maiden, he's not really going to get Marillion. But maybe, in fact, but in my book I say maybe it might have been a good thing. It could have been a good thing.
But still, you didn't do too bad. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not regretting how the first album turned out at all, because I was very happy with it at the time. And it was a great experience for me, the whole thing. And
I remember. Sorry, go. No, interrupt.
I was going to say with Nick Torber, he very much was like a keyboard guy, So he really indulged me. He was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna," because I didn't have a PPG at that point or a Mini Moog. And he was like, we'll just hire them in. We were hiring PPGs in. We hired a harpsichord one day just for
love
that. The tracks. I was like a kid in a sweet shop. Whatever I wanted to try, he'd be like, we'll get one of those in. We'll hire that in. And I've got that hire bill.
Yeah. Right.
It was fun.
Yeah. So. Because I remember seeing Marillion in Sounds magazine more than I did any of the other more commercially poppy kind of stuff. But after Script, there was Fugazi, and then of course the real kind of, shall we call it? I don't like to call it the breakout album, but the big commercial successful album of Misplaced Childhood, which had those massive singles on, and I still think some of the tracks on there are some of the band's finest work, some of Fish's finest lyrics, some of the finest musical performances. It was such a big thing. How did it feel to have that kind of surge of commercial success after what was I wouldn't say underground, but you had a solid backing, but never quite number one singles, and so now you were in that kind of level of the stratosphere. How did that affect you and the band?
Well, it came as a bit of a surprise because we see the thing is you have to understand that we'd never really played that game of trying to write hit singles. You know, the record company were always a bit disappointed with our single performance, and you know, you can see it with songs. I mean, we released a song like Punch and Judy, which is in 7/8, and you know, it's about wife beating. It's not exactly, you know, pop chart material. And then we had Garden Party, or you know, so our singles weren't really attempts at hits, you know. And then when we came to write Misplaced Childhood, we thought, okay, screw the record company. We're not going to do what they want. We're going to write a concept album. It's just going to be one continuous piece of music. And by accident, we wrote a hit single. And, you know, and nobody knew it. I mean, I can remember when because we recorded the album in Berlin, and the record company guy, this same guy that was the Iron Maiden guy, the Thomas Dolby guy, came out to see us. We played him that track, and he was like, "Have you got anything else?" You know,
Don't need anything else.
so nobody saw it. Not even, you know, even though we went, "How about this? This could be a hit single. You know, this could be a single, not necessarily a hit." And then, you know, as you know, I think luck plays a big part in it. We put the song out because it was the most single-like thing we had, and then we got a spot on Wogan. You know, the TV, the evening magazine show. And the only reason we got that was because Queen were due to appear, and Freddie had a cold or something, and they cancelled at the last minute. So it was literally just good luck. And then we suddenly went up the charts, and then they went, okay, we need another single, and we didn't have one. So we had to take Lavender, which was like about a minute and a half long on the album because it was just a bit, and we kind of lengthened it and made it into a single, you know. So there was no planning. It was all just chance, really. And you know, obviously the songs are good, but the album in itself for me was a statement, really, the whole album. And I think a lot of people got it. The people that bought the album because of the single became fans and stayed with us.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that was probably my gateway into, you know, listening to everything. You know, I'd heard bits, but then, you know, Misplaced Childhood comes along, Kayleigh comes out. There was a girl that lived in our village called Kayleigh, so every time we used to have that played at the youth club, everyone went wild. It was brilliant. It was a real moment. And then, you know, Lavender's such a pretty song, but when you hear the album and you hear that thread, that concept, I think it was probably the first concept album that I really kind of understood and you know, got it, you know. And like Heart of Lothian and White Feather, the Bittersweet, I mean, it's all really just amazing. So I can listen to that over and over and over.
I was going to say, I seem to recall seeing you, I mean, in the very, very early days, because we used to travel quite a lot to go and see, from London to Essex to Clacton and all over the place, to see Level 42, who were doing the rounds at the time as well. And I remember we caught you at a couple of places. They weren't playing, we just caught you at a couple of these things. And I was always really intrigued by the setup back in that time. So, did you ever sort of cross paths with those guys? Because I know it's a completely different thing, but they were doing that kind of thing where they were just touring. They built up this huge fan base, and there seemed to be a lot of crossover.
We did. We saw them a number. I can remember a number of festivals, and you know, there was the same bands used to be touring around, and they would have these. They didn't have them in England, but across Europe, they would be like these TV festivals where everybody would get up, and quite often they would just mime to your own song, but on a stage in front of a huge audience, and then they would film it and broadcast it. So quite often we'd see them at those sorts of things. And when we were second on the bill to Queen, Level 42 were third on the bill. We did a whole bunch of European outdoor gigs. Which in 1986, which was a lot of fun. So we saw them there. So yeah, it's kind of like, you know, you'd meet people again and again at different times, you know. And definitely, in fact, I can remember one time we were doing one of these TV things, and Talk were doing it, and In Excess, and we got into a bit of an argument with Talk. I can't really remember what it's about now, And the drummer from InXS, bless him, he said, "Come on, let's go and get them." He was like ready for a fight. So it's going to be InXS and Marillion against Talk Talk. And our manager said to their manager, "I think you better put your boys to bed because there's going to be some trouble."
Bloody Aussies. I've got a question here from the guy that actually set this whole thing up for us and put us in touch, from Ronald. And this kind of plays back into what you were saying about Misplaced Childhood and how that kind of really defined the band. And it says, looking back, was there a moment or a particular piece where you personally felt that you truly defined your role in the overall sound of the band? Was there a moment where you felt that, this I've really punched through with my contribution?
I'd have to say probably, certainly from going back 30 plus years, would be the Brave album, because there's quite a lot of
That's a great album.
keyboard atmospheres, and it's a very atmospheric album, and there's quite a lot of stuff on there that feels like it was, there's kind of what people call a keyboard landscapes,
Yeah.
I mean, I know people say, "Oh, why don't you do those Mini Moog solos anymore? You used to do those." It's kind of feels like our music has developed in such a way that they would feel a little bit out of place. So
Has to be right.
but you never know. I mean, I did a solo album a few years back, around about 2020, and there's quite a few keyboard solo type stuff on there. So it's not out of the question. It's just what suits the music, really.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Really is.
You've mentioned the Mini Moog a number of times, so clearly it's an important instrument to you. And we were going to talk about your Mini Moog, which was recently put up for sale on reverb.com. And when I called up all of my pages for the show tonight, it tells me it's no longer available. Is there an update on the sale of the classic Mark Kelly Mini Moog?
So I decided to sell it because it's literally gathering dust, and I feel a bit guilty about the fact that I haven't been using it. And then I just thought, you know what, I've been buying a few new keyboards lately, and I thought just to keep the bank bounce, like there's a thing this Haken Audio Continuum. It looks like nothing.
Yeah.
They're awfully expensive.
They are, yeah.
And I just thought, you know what, I should maybe sell one or two things so that I can afford, because I love getting new gear.
Yeah.
And generally, it tends to be VST instruments or audio units, because I use Macs, but a lot of virtual instruments, which I love playing around with. But then sometimes having physical stuff is great too.
Yeah.
And I've got one of the what do they call it?
Osmos.
Osmos,
Yeah.
Which again is such tactile instruments.
Yeah.
To play.
Absolutely.
So I just thought, okay, I'm going to sell the Mini Moog and hopefully go to a good home. And then I thought I'll do a Dutch auction, because I've no idea what it's worth, what somebody is willing to pay for it. And then for people that don't know, Dutch auctions where you start with the prices high and then you just drop it until somebody buys it.
Right.
And then straight away somebody offered me not far off what I was asking for it. But I have to say that I'm a bit suspicious about the sale, because they haven't responded to my email. Their email address looks like a fake email or an auto-generated email address.
Yeah.
So I think it might be back on in the next few days. Is the short answer.
One of our members plugged it on our Facebook page, and so as soon as it comes back, we'll stick it back out there.
We'll reshare it again.
Yeah. I've never sold anything on Reverb before, so I'm not sure how it works. But I think they've got 3 days to pay the money and for me to ship it. So, but then presumably the listing can be made active again, and it'll be the same URL. Hopefully.
I thought so. Yeah. But the Mini Moog is obviously was an important part of what you were doing, particularly back then. I want to ask the fantastic lead part on Incommunicado. Was that the Mini Moog?
It was.
And can you still play it? Can you still play it that fast?
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do this. My fingers are just too short and stubby. It's never going to happen.
We do still play it, that song.
Yeah.
I tell you the one that I mean, this is something that I probably shouldn't say because the other guys aren't here, but I'm going to say it anyway. We all have that thing of like, are you sure it's this fast? Yeah. Whether it's guitar or bass or keyboards, we're like, I'm not sure I can play that speed anymore. That's young person's music. But no, the one that gets me, it's not Incommunicado, it's Market Square Heroes, because it's one of those parts that's so repetitive that after a while you start thinking, oh my God, let's go to the next bit so I can stop doing this.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But no, I can manage that still.
Was everything always live, or did you ever use sequencers or anything like that to help with those kinds of things?
Oh no, I used to always play it. I was the very first sequence thing that I did. Jace will know about this. On the Pro 1, there's like a little step sequencer.
Yeah.
And I used to do a little thing in the song Grendel. There was a little step sequence thing in that. It's just like a little random thing. But generally, we don't cheat with the main parts. When we play live these days, we kind of got to the stage where we use a lot of clicks, and it's very helpful to have clicks. Just generally, and also countings for when things are about to happen.
Right.
But
it just keeps the band a lot tighter, I assume, does it? It will just keep the band a lot tighter, Mark.
Yeah, it has its ups and downsides, really, because on the one hand, it's really useful, like you say, so you're not playing something too fast. Generally, it's too fast, rarely too slow. But then you're kind of stuck with the arrangement. It's quite hard to drift away from the arrangement or try something different. But it's I'd say about 80% of it is to clicks, and some of the stuff like the minor parts, like some power chords might be in the box, or some backing vocals or stuff like that, or it's atmospheric stuff that is difficult to just play on the fly whilst you're doing something else.
Nice.
I want to just dwell a little bit more on the band, and then I want to sort of get into the way you're working now, and you're talking about using a lot of plugins and stuff. The Clutching at Straws album was the last one that you did with Fish. There was this whole him leaving thing, and then you get Steve on board, and you're just still powering through. You're still gigging all over the world. You're doing the cruise ship stuff as well, and you've got a new album in the works. What was that pivot like for you and the band when you lose your your existing charismatic lead singer, I guess the main lyricist of the band, and now it's all new again? You've got to bring somebody else in. Are you going to get the right person that fits the band? Are the fans going to take to them quite well? What was that? That must have been quite a turbulent, uneasy time.
Surprisingly, I don't know whether we were just stupid or naive, but we were kind of. I don't recall ever being worried about it. I think there was a sense of relief in the band, because the atmosphere had got so bad with Fish that when he said that he was going to resign if we didn't do what he wanted, we went, okay, goodbye. And then it was like, oh, thank God he's gone. I mean, I know a lot of people were really upset about it at the time, but it was kind of a breath of fresh air to have somebody new, and obviously there was a big step down in terms of the album sales and the audience size, but it didn't bother us. I mean, we were having a lot of fun, and making albums like Season's End, and then we did Holidays in Eden, Brave, and Afraid of Sunlight. We were really happy with those, and I think it, over the years, it kind of showed people that without Fish, okay, it's a different sounding band. We're doing different things, and obviously Steve is a completely different singer to Fish, but we're making something that's, well, we're still here. Steve's been with us now for 38 years, 36 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, and I guess as punters listening to the music, we don't know what goes on behind those doors. And I've worked with touring bands and have heard many a story about how bands don't get on. They all turn up to the gigs in different different cars. So
if you listen to my podcast, you'll find out exactly what's going on behind closed doors.
Driving immediately.
No, but the thing is, I can be honest about it, because it was either so long ago that it's not going to upset anybody, or
Sure.
and the fact that things are now so great between the five of us. We all get on so well. We're having a really good time, and you know, I don't know if it's because we've all got older and mellowed with age, but when you're young, you know, the music and how you feel about, like, for example, something like mixing an album, you can have a really terrible falling out over something which 6 months later you can't even remember what it was you were fighting about. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Whereas now it's
absolutely.
like, you know, we're kind of a bit more cool about things. So we
I
all
want-
enjoy each other's company.
I wanted to ask you a question about this strange engine, because I remember that came out in what was it, 96, 97, something like that. And you were talking earlier about the fact that you seem to be very much, or maybe Robbie was talking about, you're sort of fan-funded a lot of it now, and you kind of created that business model. What, am I right in thinking that was when you toured that album, that your fans in the US paid Marillion some money? You actually fronted it to get you over there, and that, I mean, that must be reassuring. But I just wanted to know, was that true? Did that actually happen? And how did that make you feel about the whole idea of touring on for fans?
So that was, yeah, you're right, 97. It was actually 96 that. So there was a thing called the Freaks mailing list, which was like back in the old days of before we had all these web browsers and everything. There was a mailing list for Marillion fans, which I don't know if anybody ever used mailing lists, but in those days you would send an email to the list and it would just get distributed to everybody on the list. And I was like a lurker on this list. Nobody knew I was there, but I was reading what people were saying about the band. You know. It's a bit like the old version of Googling yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, well, why aren't the band touring the States? And we just, at that point, we'd been dropped by EMI. We didn't have a record deal in the States. We'd signed with Castle, which was for Europe and the UK. And I just explained, I said, look, we can't afford to tour the US because every time we tour, we lose money, and usually it's the record company that make the shortfall, and it'll probably be about $50,000 or $60,000. So this guy, his name was Jeff Pelletier, suggested, he said, well, why don't we just start a Tour the USA fund? I'll chip in $50, and very quickly it's kind of snowballed and got completely out of hand. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I haven't even told the rest of the band yet about this.
Wow.
So, guys, we're going on tour next week.
So eventually it got to about, I think it was $18,000. I'm like, this is getting serious now. I better tell the guys. So I said, well, I think we might be doing a tour of the USA. So, and then eventually they raised $60,000+,
Wow.
which they just gave to us, which kind of helped pay for things like flights and crew wages, and I mean the tour was a really good tour because the tour fund story meant that we got in the regular press and TV and stuff. I mean, the BBC covered it. Everybody was covering it because it was a great story, which of course sold more tickets for the tour. So we actually managed to play a lot more places than we would have otherwise played. I mean, it was still only clubs and small venues, but that was 97, and that was what gave me the idea by 2000 that if we didn't want to sign another record deal, that we could just ask the fans, because it showed us that they were willing to put their hands in their pockets and they weren't getting tickets for that. That was literally just to get us to go there. Then they would have to buy the tickets as well. Yeah. So that was kind of a crowdfunding, almost like a charity thing, really. Yeah. But then we said, okay, well, what if we asked them to pay for the album before we make it? And that was what happened in 2001.
Yeah, now everybody's doing it, which is great. Exactly. I mean, it seemed to be there was a revolution, wasn't it, at the turn of the century? Bands like you doing that. There was artists like Prince and George Michael that were rebelling against the labels and rebelling against that whole system that had been going for 50-odd years, and saying, no, we're the artists, we're the creative people, we're the ones that put in the hard work. We want to do what we want to do and not what the labels do. So
And be paid fairly for it as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's it, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've got.
Yep, go
Sorry,
ahead. No.
I was going to say now we've got Spong out and AI generated music just basically swamping all real music out. It's AI slop.
Yeah.
Won't give it house room.
Yeah.
Won't give it house room. Just
Well,
No.
I heard that bands are now leaving their Spotify accounts and being taken over by AI as the same band. So even the fans wouldn't know. So it's kind of like
Well,
dangerous
Yeah,
times.
it's. I think. I don't know where it's going, but I think if Spotify don't start flagging up music that's AI generated, then it's going to actually become it'll probably be the death of Spotify, because real music fans are going to just go, well, if I can't tell whether I'm listening to a real artist or not, I'll just get my music elsewhere.
Yeah.
There's also the whole copyright. There's a huge copyright thing going on with, and Spotify are going to feel the wrath of this at some point, which is where if you, unlike it used to be, now if you can't prove the source of the material that you use to generate the AI versions of whatever it is, if you can't prove that you own the rights to that, then anything which you generate with it is assumed to have breached copyright at some point. And if you can't, so therefore, if you see, there are class action lawsuits going to be starting very soon. One or two have started already in Europe, where Spotify are the subject of, can you show that music, which sounds like, do you have permission to use that? What's the source of it? And if they say, we don't know, then that implies guilt. So there is going to be another revolution with that is coming down the path. So hopefully live music and bands like yourself will sort of gain from that. That's my hope.
Yeah, and of course live music
is
the thing, isn't it? Because live music, you can't, well, we say you can't at the moment, you can't AI the experience of a live band, can you? So
ABBA.
It's still well, yeah,
Come on, that's exactly what's happening. People are paying stupid amounts of money to see not a band.
yeah, true.
Yeah, but that's kind of a one-off, really. I don't think that's going to be the future of music. I mean, for us, I mean, we still get out and play live. We've got quite a busy year coming up.
Yeah, it was looking nice.
It's and I feel like we're enjoying it more than ever, really. I don't know.
Good.
I was just looking. Actually, you can see it on my screen behind me. I was just looking at the Rush dates. They're doing a huge tour.
Yeah, didn't they just announce
you know.
another one? They've just announced an extra one for the UK.
Okay. I heard that they might. Yeah, what was that on the Saturday?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I just want to quickly sort of touch on go back to the gear kind of thing, because you mentioned about plugins and working inside the box. Has that now really kind of become your focus now that in the studio and live you are using plugins predominantly, or is there still a balance between those and hardware?
I kind of went through a phase of trying different synths and through the 90s I'd get like a Korg M1 and then a Wave Station, and then I was using various different keyboards, the JP8000 and all great instruments. I love those three instruments, for example, back then. And the D50 was another one that I was using. But the problem was, every time I got a new keyboard, I'd have to say, okay, this one's going to have to go now, and then I noticed then, scroll forward a few years, and then they started making software versions of them. So I've got the software, I've got the whole like the Jupiter 8. I mean, and I know it's not the same. It doesn't sound quite as good, and it's not. You don't have that hands-on thing, which is a shame. But it doesn't mean that I can have access to those sounds from all those different keyboards without having to have 20 keyboards. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. But I do love. Spectrasonic's Omnisphere. I mean, that's just a monster, and it's got one of my favorite libraries on that is the Moog Tribute library, which
amazing
years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some really good virtual instruments these days, and Pianotek's
Oh yes.
Oh, their stuff is astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah, the latest piano they've got out, version 8, I think it is. It's just beats samples hands down for me.
And are you using something like MainStage to set this all up for live?
I am, yes, yeah. I started using MainStage in 2014. Before that, I was using, because I was on PCs and trying to do it all with a program called Forte, which was I don't know if you remember that, but it was a small operation run by two guys. Mike Garrett, his name was, one of them, and they were great. I mean, they really tried to put out a great product, but they were just up against it in terms of not having the manpower or the money, you know. And then Apple brought MainStage out, and it wasn't able to do what I wanted. And then eventually they brought out version 3, and then I thought, okay, that's going to work for me now, and switched to Apple.
Yeah.
But it is very convenient to be able to program scenes for each part of every song, because you know, I do use a lot of different sounds. It's not like I'm just playing piano, organ, and strings, you know.
Yeah.
So having that flexibility, and also being able to just step on a pedal to move to the next scene, and really just makes it a lot easier. And it's MainStage is pretty bulletproof live, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that helps.
It's a solid thing. I'm very conscious of the time, so I want to get some of our viewers' questions in, if I can.
Let's do it.
This one is from Nick Howes. Hope you're feeling better, Nick. I know Nick's been under the weather recently, so hope you are on the mend. His question is, with H being a keyboard player too, does he ever make suggestions to keyboard parts?
Tony Charles. That's right. He played keyboards with Tony Charles, and he was about to play keyboards with Matt Johnson in the before he joined Marillion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he played on a track on one of his albums, I think. So now H is. When he joined the band, I was a bit nervous about how that might work, but he's always been really gracious and really just very good at just not stepping on my toes, and I do the same with him. I mean, usually the things that he plays are associated with his singing. So, for example, if there's a song, I don't know if people would know this song, there's a song called Fantastic Place, where he's playing the electric piano and singing, and it's kind of the tempo of the song is kind of dictated by his voice, but he knows how he wants to play it, and so that's great. But there's quite often, you know, when we're playing live, there'll be things that he joins in with, but quite often it's just the parts. He plays bits and pieces on the albums here and there. I'm not precious about it, you know. We just both do what we want to do, really.
Yeah.
But I think he does occasionally suggest, oh, why don't you do this or that? But it's quite rare, and I never feel like, hey, don't tell me how to play my instrument.
Stay in your lane, H.
Yeah.
Another question from a good friend of mine and one of Norfolk's finest singer-songwriters, Matt Watson of the Secret Helicopters. Did the Genesis comparisons annoy you, or were you flattered?
Well, when I first joined the band, I could hear the similarity, I suppose. But I think it was a bit overblown, really, because Marillion had a much harder sound than Genesis.
Yes.
And I think what really added to it was Fish wearing makeup. And you know, that I think that was the thing that which he quickly discarded. I mean, I think the thing that made him stop wearing makeup was when Peter Gabriel brought out, I think it was his fourth album. What was the album with Shock the Monkey on it? And he was in full face makeup, and for years of not having done that, suddenly it was like, okay, now you're reminding everybody.
PTSD.
But yeah, I think the Genesis thing is probably a bit overblown, really.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
And curiously, it's almost like they copied you, going that harder sound in their later albums. Yeah, much more towards that kind of edgier sound. When they got to Mama and on from so it was a lot more rocky.
I think like everybody in those times, you probably, you get some of what's going on in popular music rubs off on you, and there was that whole new wave thing, I suppose, certainly made Marillion a harder sounding band than bands from the early 70s,
Yeah. Do you ever
And the
get
production
into,
as well is
yeah.
have an effect on the sound of the music as well, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about keyboard synths, we've talked about software synths. Do you ever do anything with modular gear? Have you ever dabbled in the old bird's nest of modular?
No, I'd love to, but I've never owned a modular system, and
Don't do it.
yeah, no,
Don't do it.
It's
funny,
a deep rabbit hole.
I was looking on Reverb. See, that's the thing. I went on there to sell a keyboard,
You
and
end
I'm
up
looking and there was a Korg modular thing that I'd never seen before.
3,300, 3,200.
Maybe it was 33 grand. I know that.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
PS 3,300. It sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah,
Justin Happy wants
I
to
think it
know:
was. Yeah,
do you still have the Korg Karma?
I do.
You're quite a fan of that, weren't you?
I was going to bring that up actually.
Yeah, I do still have the Korg Karma. I had two, but one of them broke down. But I've still got one of them, which is in good nick. Yeah, but my record with keyboards isn't great, to be honest. I sold my Jupiter 8. I had a Super Jupiter and the programming panel for it, and sold that, which I regret because that was a great instrument. But the one that I really regret the most is the PPG. I cut it up. I got rid of the keyboard, cut the front panel in half because it had two sort of. If you look inside a PPG, there's nothing in it. It's literally just a couple of circuit boards. It's almost empty. Whereas the emulator one was crammed with ICs, wasn't it? I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah.
So I cut it up and put it in a rack with the panel split in two between the front and the back of the rack. And it worked and everything. The only problem was it kind of overheated a little bit. So one of the crew said, I'll put a fan in it for you. And he took it apart, plugged one of the cables in the wrong way around and blew it up, and then it never worked again after that. So that was...
He was fired.
Very popular.
Yeah. Me3D says, Mark, I see you're selling your Mini Moog, which we've spoken about. Would you ever consider getting the old gear out of storage, if you have any of that left, of course, and doing a new completely analog album?
That's a nice idea, a completely analog album. I don't have most of the old gear, to be honest.
Right.
Which is a shame. But yeah, I could buy some of the old gear.
Go and get it all from Reverb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go. Kent's managed to finally join us. Hello, Kent.
Yay!
Hello.
And Noah.
I am now officially not a member of PSN.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
You've been fired.
I don't. I couldn't get
These all
in.
got in. That's strange. Anyway, let's see. We've got any more questions we can throw at Mark before we have to let him go. Andy says, Andy, I think he's falling in love. Please send Mark a big hug from me. I have loved Marillion for years. And he also says, tell him I'm still practicing Garden Party, but still can't quite get it. Job safe, Mark.
I'll send a hug back to Andy and tell him good luck with Garden Party.
There you go.
No, I just thought, Robbie, we got an emulator one we can sell, Mark.
Well, we've had that kind of conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
Stop it for a minute, mate.
We'd sort that out.
What would you say is your most memorable gig, Mark?
Probably the first time we played the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was a really special night.
I love that insouciance. The first time we played.
No, because
the first time, don't you know? We've only played one. No. Loads.
So I've got
it
two more
wasn't that long
questions.
ago. It was only like 7 or 8 years ago. It was we were quite late getting there, and it was actually Steve Hogarth that got us to play, because he was like, why haven't you ever played the Royal Albert Hall? It's on my bucket list, and so we managed to make it happen. But
stunning venue, stunning sound as well.
Yeah, done it.
Yeah,
I'm off there again later this year.
Yeah.
See Steve Wilson do one of his 2 gigs this year. So
the last time I was there was to see David Gilmour.
oh, very nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I worked the show there.
Only the best.
Ended up.
Two more questions very quickly before we let you go. First of all, what are you listening to right now? What is turning you on musically right now?
What am I listening to? I've been listening to Elbow recently, because they've got a gig coming up at the Royal Albert Hall that actually I'm going to go and see. And what else have I been listening to? Just trying to think. I'd have to look at my phone. I mean, I still listen to a lot of the old stuff. I mean, I like to try and root around and find music from the 60s and 70s that I don't know.
All right.
Which is
plenty,
which is
isn't there?
also good music from the 60s and 70s. But it's great when you find something you've not heard that you missed the first time round, and you go, oh well, you know. There was a German band that I'd never heard of called, I think they're called Triumvirate or something like that. And they were, I was really impressed. Yeah. But yeah, not a lot of modern music, if I'm honest.
No. Okay, that's cool. Good stuff. And the final question, we have to ask this of all of our guests. What do you think of the Yamaha DX7?
Oh, God.
I used
Don't answer it.
It's a Marmite thing.
It's a trap.
I used to like the DX7 for certain sounds, but programming it was horrible. It was like trying to paint your hall from outside through the letterbox. You know.
Where's Manny? Where's Manny when you need
him? Is he in the chat? Yeah.
We've usually got a guy called Manny that's in the chat, Mark, and he was one of the sort of the programmers. He's the FM genius, really, in the chat. He's done for Yamaha.
It's like the PPG Wave 2.2, the wave tables. It was just a complete mystery. You had like these 2,000 wave tables that all sounded completely different, and there was no sort of organization to them. So you could sort of scroll through them and completely change the sound just by switching one wave. And you're like, how do you get back to what you had before? If it's just a number, you know, you're like, okay.
I do have one tiny question for you, if I can. You were mentioning earlier about when you're doing live, you know, having clicks and things because, you know, you need to keep everyone in time and know where they are and all that stuff. I used a box, I still occasionally use a box called the Red Sound Federation X, which takes live audio input and turns it into a MIDI click and MIDI clock, which you can then kick out. So I actually, what we do is we feed it the drummer, and the drummer's in charge of the tempo, so that if we want to go off on a more, because I've ran into the same things you have, which is if you want to go off onto a more avant-garde, you know, sort of play around with arrangements, the drummer's in charge of it, kind of thing. Is that something you've ever looked at or thought about?
Well, one thing that we do is so I use Ableton Live for the clicks. So I have looked at using they have like a tempo follow thing where you can feed the drums into Ableton and then it will follow the drummer. But it's not one. I mean, if you've just got straight 4 on the floor tempo, you know, drums, it's probably fine. But if anything a little bit different, and it kind of struggles a bit.
Yeah, when you're going to your 7, 8 and things like that.
Which we tried it a few times and it kind of came a bit unstuck. But what we tend to do is, so if we're playing a song, we'll have a click and then the click will stop. We'll go free and then at some point we can drop back into the click again. You know.
Yeah.
It's saying that a world is formed out of coal. Coal that rings a distant bell in my ancestral outhouse.
Bowen, Edwards, fetch the coal.
That sounds like that's.
Yeah, I've just muted you. So yeah. What that is.
Sorry.
Very strange. Anyway, sorry.
Was that the same person that was talking about waffles earlier?
Yeah, probably, yeah. It's gone now. Anyway, listen, Mark.
I was hoping to get some waffles.
Yeah, we should do that. Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you ever want to come back on, you are more than welcome. Just to let everyone know, if they want to find out what Marillion are doing, and all the members of the band, they've all got individual pages on here. This is Marillion.com. It's nice and easy to remember. All the tour dates are there, merchandise, albums, all sorts of stuff on the website there. And then also, if you want to hear Mark and his daughter Tallulah on YouTube, they have their own channel over there. Mark and Tallulah Kelly, Prog and Progeny is the channel name. There's loads of really great stuff on there. There's interviews with Steve on there and others, and it's a really interesting channel. So I highly recommend you go and do that. So
are there also links to your solo albums on there, Mark?
There is, in fact, on that same channel. I've got some tracks from the solo album that I recorded at Real World. So yeah.
Fantastic.
And also, all the links are on Marillion.com as well. Mark, thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure and a joy to meet you, and really interesting stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'll be very happy to come back on again. Maybe when we got the new album out or something.
Yeah, please do.
That would be fantastic. Yeah,
you've got my email. Drop me a line. That'd be fantastic.
Right,
you'll see it in your chat on your lines.
Well, great to meet you all. And
nice to meet you, Mark.
Yeah. Cheers,
care.
Mark. Take care. Have a great
Thanks,
weekend.
Mark.
We'll see you again soon. Kelly, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. There we go.
How do I leave?
I can ceremoniously kick
You're
you out.
stuck here now.
Hang on.
You can't get away.
There we go. And he's gone. There we go. Oh, Mark Kelly, everyone. What a guest. What a
Very good
fantastic
guest.
Anyway, right. So first of all, let's see. Have we got Kent? Where the blooming heck were you?
He was making Jason's waffles for him.
Well, yeah. I don't know what's happened.
No.
We'll have to. I can't do anything in the back end, as they say,
Later.
until we've finished.
Later.
So we'll sort that
Steady
out.
on.
But anyway, good to have you back. What a guest, though. That's really.
Very
massive,
Fantastic. Yeah.
massive thank you to Ronald Wilde, who contacted me a
well
while
done,
back
Ronald. Thank you for that.
and said, "Should we see if we can get Mark on the show?" And I'm like, "If you can, put us in touch." And he did. He got in touch, and then he put me and Mark in touch, and then we sorted it out, and it was all very, very simple. And I want to say a massive thank you to Ron Wild. Hopefully, I can thank you in person again at Super Booth this year, because I hope you're going. And to anyone that's joined the stream today, whether it's live or whether you're watching on catch up, and you've joined because Mark was on the show, then I hope you enjoyed it. Welcome, and give us a subscribe. We do this thing quite a bit, and Mark, as he said, will be coming back. We'll have more people like Mark and others throughout. We're working on a number of guests as we go through. Anyway, we've got about 45 more minutes to go through here. We've got a few things to talk about. Ronald has just confirmed in the chat we will see us on Superbooth. Excellent stuff. So there's been a bit of news, but before we go on to any of the fairly boring newsy topics, there was, of course, we had an event at the weekend where we were in attendance and lots of other people were in attendance, and it was called SynthEast. It was organised by our good friend Robin Vincent in conjunction with Electronic Sound Magazine and the Norwich Arts Centre. It was spread across 3 days. We had, on the Friday, we had a screening of a film called Studio Electrophonique, which was all about this Sheffield-based studio in some guy's extension at the back, and the drummer was up in the bedroom with a little CCTV monitor. But bands like Pulp and early versions of the Human League, like The Future, Clock DVA, Cabaret Voltaire, a whole bunch of other people got their first opportunity to record their stuff. And it was a brilliant little film. It was about an hour long. It's really well done. And then we had a podcast recording with the guys from Electronic Sound, where they told us all about how the magazine came into existence. Then, of course, on the Saturday, we had the expo, which ran from 10 till 4 in the Norwich Arts Centre. It wasn't. It is. It never is.
It's like, can you move your stuff, please, and get out? No,
I know they really do bully you out of there, don't they? Nevertheless, it was a really, really interesting day. There was, some of the usual suspects. We were there, of course. The guys from Take the Fear Out the Gear were there.
Good to see those guys.
Yeah, there was lots of smaller manufacturers, and of course, Korg occupied the foyer, and Source Distribution occupied the bar. With all of their wares. But this is Dave Walker. Hopefully, you all are aware of who Dave is. If you haven't, you'll know him, because he's the guy that goes around. Looks like he was at the centre of an explosion in a paint factory. He wears these amazing designed hats and shirts and everything, and he takes photos of everything. And unbeknownst to me at the time, he captured this brilliant shot of our stand from the back. So there's me with me gut, and then there's Frederick Nietzsche. Andy Brooks, who was great to see. Andy, because we haven't seen him around. He's in the chat tonight, and it's great to see him there. But it was just great to see him in person, give him a big hug and tug on that beard. And then, of course, you got Pete Catley there, and some of you may or may not know Pete, but Pete will be at our show in March with a whole bunch of electronic drum stuff. You'll see Peter James Stephen there with the hoodie and the t-shirt on there, and then propping up the JX10 is our very own Keith in Watford. And it was just behind him you got Ollie Freck, and there's a whole bunch of other people there, including the likes of Gaz Williams and of course Jason and Steve Davis and Scanner and Dots were there, and just lots of people. And it was a really, really great show. Lots of gear to be played with and fiddled with and looked at and admired. But of course, the best thing about it was the people. And then in the evening, Cabaret Voltaire played a cracking set on stage, supported by Robin Rimbaud, or also known as Scanner, who had Robin Vincent on. It was the two Robins. He was on stage as well. And
is that a nest of robins?
There's a nest of
Hey!
clutch of robins. And then the cabs were absolutely fantastic. Stephen Mounder on top form. And of course, Benj, our good friend Benj, on drums, just wigging it out at the back there. He was brilliant. So
was that any of that filmed? And will it appear at any point? Do we know?
No, it was not filmed.
No.
No. I aided the filming of the daytime events. We did have some technical issues which weren't obvious at the time, but have since been made obvious. But most of the performances were recorded, the patch-offs, and there's definitely some footage of everyone who performed. But the evening performances are not filmed by us. And I think it's very much if you go to a live gig and you pay for a ticket, you see the gig. Yeah. There's no recording.
Yeah. No, I get that.
It's treated exactly like that. So, and I think and it works really well. But obviously, Robin wants to promote the daytime event, the expo, and I suppose that's the part that will actually generate revenue to continue that, because you buy a table, and then manufacturers come in and show their wares. So that's helping to fund the event. Well, the evening is you're paying the band, I suppose.
Yes, I'm sure they're not cheap. But a great gig, really good vibe. And then the only part I didn't partake in was on the Sunday, which was the workshop run by Erica Synths.
Yeah, usually there's three. Last year there were 3 different workshops running concurrently. This year it was just one, and it was actually a little bit more focused. And we were told to be quiet a couple of times.
Really?
I was being quiet. I
bet it was the
right.
It was those other guys.
Yes.
Big boys done it and run away.
Sean Murgatroyd, Kissing the Machine, was there, of course, all day.
Yes,
because he's local. My highlight of SynthEast was standing at the urinal late on Saturday, telling Starsky Carr he was the reason I bought a Leipzig V3. I'm sure Starsky remembers that very well, because he came out and said, "There's this weird guy in the toilet." It was great to see all those people.
Is that a "Aren't you John Wayne" moment?
And of course, I need to put this one up because she'll kill me if I don't know. Let me just see if I should. My show preparation was rather rubbish today. But of course, the wonderful Steve Davis was there, who I still just can't get past the fact that, was it 7 times world snooker champion Steve Davis, who I grew up with as a young snooker fan, is there in a musical capacity, and he did a patch off as well. Who was his patch off with?
His was
Starsky. Yeah, it was with Starsky, wasn't it? That was quite, because Starsky brought his Elector format as well.
And if you want to see that, some of that performance, that is the beginning of my live stream of the event, and it's just a live walking around. So you can see 10 minutes of that, or 5 minutes, whatever it is.
This is the testament to the attraction of SynthEast. My wife always insists on coming, but the main reason she insists on coming to SynthEast is so that she can get her annual photo with Steve Davis. So there we go. So she was well happy, shall we say? So it was a really cracking event, wasn't it, Jace? Just the usual crowd of people, and new people as well as old faces, people I only ever see at SynthEast. It was great.
Yeah. It's unlike a lot of the other events. For me, the crowning glory of it is that it's spaced out.
Yes.
That you can visit and do every single thing, and you're not going to miss out because you're playing with the synth, and suddenly who you wanted to see is performing, and you don't realize until after because you're in such a zone. Everything's in that one room unless you're in with Korg or Source, and ultimately everything stops for that performance for 15 minutes. I love that because that means that the exhibitors get a chance to have a break.
There's a nice
flow,
isn't there?
Absolutely.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Really, really busy. And I went round and I tried to get to see everybody I wanted to see. And I missed someone. I totally missed them. I didn't even see them in the bar. And it's like, so it is small, but it's busy enough that you can do exactly that, So sorry, Adam.
So is this the model for SynthSouthwest as well? Do we think, Robbie?
It's in a more compact way. We don't have workshops. We don't have a big headline kind of gig night, but we do have an evening of multiple performers. But yeah, we've kind of we've talked with Robin, and we've kind of borrowed a little bit of the format. So yes, there will be a Synth Expo during the day, and it will run about an hour longer because we don't have to clear the venue to fill it up again because we're going across the road to the theatre. But there is an expo. Nobody pays for a table. They're all, we just book people in. They come along. They'll be selling stuff. They'll be demonstrating stuff. We've had, unfortunately, we were hoping that Korg were going to be there. They've had to kind of pull out last minute. But we were also hoping that Ali Cassidy was going to pop over from Ireland, but work commitments have prevented that from happening. But we still have a whole bunch of ARP gear because we are in part supporting the Alan R. Perlman Foundation as well. And we're still working to fill some of these gaps. There's only about one or two gaps really that we can easily fill by spreading people out. But if we can get some more exhibitors in, we are still working to the very last minute. And then, of course, you just nip across the road to the Shaftesbury Theatre where you can enjoy four wonderful musical acts, Peter James Steve and Mike Metley, Ty Unwin, and of course, I love it when he does that. And of course, Dave Bessel headlining. So,
you see, those are headline acts. You say, yes. We don't have a head. Those really, they're big, they're huge.
What we wanted to do when Peter and I were discussing this, we said we want this to be community people playing. We wanted the music to be, not that SynthEast doesn't do that, but we were quite adamant that the people we wanted performing were members of our community, and they all are. So every one of those people are in our Facebook group, or they've been on the show, or we've interviewed them, so they're all part of it. And it was really quite fun. And we've got merchandise to sell. So these came in just the other day. So I'm not going to unpack them, but we've got our SynthSouthwest t-shirts. 3 different sizes, multiples thereof. We'll have pin badges with either the ProSynth Network logo or the SynthSouthwest logo. We'll be selling Fiona's wonderful desk art, which is an illuminated ProSynth Network sign, so that you can plug those in. We'll be selling those. Baseball caps as well. There'll be loads of stickers around. Cherry Audio are sending us box loads of stuff, so we'll be raffling stuff off, giving stuff away. Lots of goodies there. Dina Perlman has sent over a whole bunch of stuff from the foundation so that we can give out stickers, and there'll be lots of others. So yeah, it's going to be great. And the seats, I was looking at the seating plan for the evening, and that's filling up very nicely. But there are still some tickets left for both events, both during the day and the night. And if you want to come to both, it's £2 off the total price. So instead of 20, it's 18. But it's £10 in the morning or during the day, and it's £10 in the evening. So yes, lots going on, and it's getting closer and closer. And this weekend, I'm going to make the most of, because this will be the only weekend that I'll not have anything really to do, and then it's every weekend coming up to the show on the 21st. So yeah, synthsouthwest.com. The link has just been put in the chat. Thank you very much, Steve Elbows. Thank you, Steve Elbows, for being another one of our moderators tonight, doing a sterling job posting links and keeping you all in check.
Marvelous work.
Yes. Anyway, so there has been a bit of news. I haven't even downloaded the video, but really there's no point, because this thing doesn't actually make sounds. But I've had one of these in for review for the last few months, and I have to say, up until last year, I never really did anything with an Arturia key step, unlike a lot of people. But now they've gone out and brought the Mark II of the Keystep 37. You remember that the original Keystep, the 25-note version, had a Mark II released just a few months ago. Now the 37 key, which does seem to be a lot of people's favourites, is kind of a sweet spot. It's so it's out now. It's €189, although I have seen it cheaper elsewhere. And what they've done to it is they've refined, I think, the user interface. So you might remember that on the left-hand side, you had multiple direct access controls to the tempo of the arpeggiator or the sequencer, the time divisions, that kind of thing. That's now all, I wouldn't say it's been hidden, but it's been put under a simple click and press a key system, so it's not even menu divey. You just press the shift button, and then you just press the corresponding key on the keyboard for the different patterns and tracks or whatever you want to select.
Well,
they've added in they've doubled the amount of arpeggiator patterns, and the ones they've added are mostly generative. You can even have your own user pattern in there, as well as the sequencing system. You've got the mutate function, which allows you to randomly change the formation of the notes in the arps or the sequences, so it gives it a little bit more of a live feel. There's a spice feature as well, and of course now you've got a little screen on there, which is a little OLED screen that actually gives you written feedback, and it shows you what you're doing. And the four rotaries on the right hand side are able to be used for lots of different functions. So there's extra CV mod outs on this unit as well. So all in all, it's a very powerful little thing. And I waited to see what Robin Vincent thought of this, because he is a diehard Keystep 37 user. It's his main controller of choice with his modular stuff. And I know that when he reviewed the smaller one, he
wasn't so impressed, was he?
He wasn't massively impressed. But when he saw this, he's kind of like, they've taken a few bits away, but the stuff they've added kind of more than makes up for it. So I don't know, Jason, you're probably more of the modular guy. And do you use Keysteps?
Actually, I don't, and I don't have one. I've got a Keystep Pro, which is, it can't be moved. It has to sit there. So if I have a smaller rig on the table, which I do often, having a keyboard, well, I don't have anything. So I've got the BeatStep Pro, which is obviously showing its age. So I think this is exactly the sort of thing that needs to be, certainly for demoing stuff. It's really hands-on and handy and easy to use. There's no, as you say, everything's kind of nicely labeled, and it's easy to navigate without having to, work yourself into a froth over where's the arpeggio gone? It's there. So I think it's going to have a big market, and I think if they carry, it's their world, isn't it? This is what they do.
They do it really, really well. Here it is. So if anyone wants to see, this is the 37. Get it one shot there. It's lovely and light. It's got a blue bum, which is very pretty.
A blue bottom.
The keyboard is, I don't think it's improved, but it's certainly not got any worse. It's velocity and aftertouch on there, channel aftertouch. And then on the back, as we said before, there's an extra CV mod out, which I guess you Iraqi type people will appreciate.
You can just absolutely
you anything,
get it to do whatever. We always want an extra bit of something,
Yeah, so there you go. And you've got your sync and your MIDI on there as well. But you'll notice that over here, just where am I pointing? I'll do this all back to front. There, no power supply socket. It's all USB-C. And that was one of the things that I thought, I don't know, because
USB noise.
No, because it's not generating any sound. It's not an audio thing.
Yeah, but then when you start connecting it up to CV stuff,
Does it connect? Will it connect through a hub, or does it have to connect directly to USB-C on the host?
Yeah, it could just go on a power cable. It could just go, but you could just use like an Apple plug or the likes of,
because and if that's the case, I'm gonna get one and just have it here, because at the moment I've got the XL7 in front of me, and it's not the best thing for doing for programming sounds, which is why I've got this. But
the extra keys, there's a reason that the 37 is liked. I think it's those extra keys. You're not limited to those. There's the 25 there, but everything is. I don't know if you can see. If I could just maybe if I make myself full screen, and you can see above the keys there in blue are all the different options. And basically, to access all of those, you just literally press that, and then and you make your selection. Now, I think that maybe for people that play in dark places like you dirty little e-mommers, that might not be brilliant.
Hey, oi! We used head torches. You're not cavemen.
No.
And women,
Head torches, yeah. So there you go. All right, so I'll shut my mouth then. But I have to say,
come on, right?
Very nice.
Challenge,
very nice
challenge on. You got to play an e-mom now, Robbie.
They look like they're damp pits, lad.
They're not what? Sorry.
They look like they're damp pits, lad.
Exactly.
But no, I liked it. I played with it and liked it, and thought it was a lot of fun. But my personally, like you have, Jason, I've got the Keystep Pro, which I have used. I bought it just really to demonstrate the Osprey drum synth, because it got CV. I thought, cables, that will draw people to our table. But what I've since found is that just by plonking it in here and hooking up something like the Protein or the Mars 1 EX, and also having it trigger stuff on the computer, what a wonderfully little liberating thing it is. With those 4 tracks of sequences that you can mess around with. I think it's a cracking thing.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any other opinions on the Keystep 37?
Just buy it.
Just buy it.
Well, yeah, it's €189, so that's what, 160 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, I know it's a little mini keyboard, but I'm using this at the moment for a lot of the
that's a
drum pads.
Yeah.
So
Rubbish.
I think I think that's
Get one
going
of these or the
to
25,
arriving Shay Longhurst very shortly.
Indeed. So Jason was waving something out in front of us.
I'm
Now,
waving.
you had this unceremoniously hooked up to me.
I did, yeah.
I saw you sticking your thing.
You did. There you go. I tried to get it onto Jackson as well, but it didn't work. He's knocked it off the table. It's a biofeedback translator. Instruo Pocket Scion.
Pocket Scion, that's the one.
And Jason handed me this. We talked about it at Britronica, and then and afterwards I tried to catch up with him and I failed. So he very kindly donated that to the channel, and I said, "Do you want to send it back?" I said, "No." So we've been enjoying that, and as I said, the first thing I wanted to do was, what does Robbie sound like? 2.0.
Maybe you should come in. I should just hold my fingers up, and you just plug me in.
You could just touch it here. It does the same thing. So it's like there's nothing quite like it, and you can go MIDI out and take it anywhere else as well, which I think is quite good.
Yeah, I was watching your stream when you were doing it. And it was interesting. I was actually thinking, this is kind of nice, because it just sort of, random, really, and it's amazing. The bit I found very interesting, and I would like to explore it further, is that you were sat there in front of Robbie 2.0, and this thing was hooked up to my leaves and my fronds.
Yeah.
And as you were talking, things were changing.
Yeah.
And we all know that if you talk to your plants, it's carbon dioxide, and they're breathing that in.
That was freaky. It was freaky. It really was. I can hook it up now, actually. Should we do that? I can't really show it because
Kent. Just to prove that Kent's alive.
Are you there, Kent? Are you still with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good man. Good man. Right, let's mute those. Let's see what we can get. Let's get Robbie making some. I can.
Oh, mind where those crocodile clips go.
He's gonna plug it in. And it's going to go.
Jackson, what are you doing?
Oh, the DX7 is such an incredible keyboard.
So, here we go. Ready for this? Oh, I've got to find the on button. It took me ages to find the on button, because it's like, there it is on the back. Where's it says there? Okay, yeah, I've got it. It's so. I should almost turn the light off, but.
Because it does something on the back, doesn't it?
I can't hear it because I'm monitoring.
No, I can't. No, we can't hear it.
Can you not? Is there not? Nothing happening?
Nope.
Oh.
Okay. Water.
The lights are on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's sensitivity.
It's going, feed me now.
Feed me now.
I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't
Well,
do
look,
that.
go and watch Jason's stream from the other day. Oh, there you go. Wow.
That's loud.
Is it good?
Yeah. Perfect.
So
So
if I talk to it now like this, it'll change. Is it different? I mean, it's not the synth sounds obviously are in here,
Right.
but how they're being activated is through the bio feedback from this plant. So the electrical, whatever.
Yeah, it's going, your breath, mate. What have you been eating?
Yeah. Oh, cut down on the garlic, mate.
Yeah. Lay off it a bit.
It does sound like a DX7, but that's because it's Robbie 2.0.
Yeah.
It wouldn't add it.
Brush your teeth, mate. You'd see your breath smells like a dog's ass.
Quick question about that. Can you take the trigger from that and have it play another instrument, or
Yes.
is it just
Yes.
you can?
Yes.
So I could plug that into any
there's a
synth.
mini. You could put it into a DX7. You could literally plug it into a DX7. Why haven't you got one?
I know. And they're only what 120 quid, those, aren't they? About 120.
Yeah, and £29. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
No, it's more than the DX7.
it's worth more than a DX7, right?
Oh, you cut me to the quick.
Yes, indeed.
Meet me in the car park.
After fights. But yeah, 4 voices. I can't hear what they are. So, is it doing anything now, or
It did
wasn't,
a
then it
second
wasn't.
ago.
there?
You see that? I find that very interesting.
Soothing, isn't it? You could just literally put that on in a room somewhere,
Yeah.
and just a waiting room. So it's like, what's going on? Well, the plant's playing your music.
Yeah.
It's like,
I wouldn't dare get one of them.
You could hook it up to a plant, a big plant in the corner, and as people come and go, it would change, and you'd get, I think I might buy one of those.
No,
Jackson's Jaxie. Wire it up to Jackson. No, let's not go there.
Does it do
I
late
just want to wire it up to different things, see what sounds they make.
what?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's
Yeah.
go out?
Yeah.
I'm quite.
And I can guess what the first would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Instruo Pocket
Intro,
Scion.
Pocket Scion. Go and get yourself one.
Let's bring it up here on the screen. He says, there it is. We don't want the cookies. Go away, cookies.
Waiting for your music, yes.
There you go, Pocket Scion. A little pocket thing, and it runs off
Very
3
cool.
AAA batteries. With all the
Comes with
controls
batteries
on
as
the
well,
back.
which is nice.
It comes with the batteries. Wow. No joke.
And like you don't even need to.
129 British pounds. Yeah. I think that's a very cool thing. They're doing some very good stuff, aren't they, Instruo?
Oh, phenomenal! The Seashell's an incredible synth as well. That's a pocket synth. Didn't we? Which was that the one that we definitely? I told Jason that we had him featured on our
Yes.
a New Year's show.
It was one of our finalists, and I did send them the information. They were very thankful. Yeah.
Yeah, so I split it in person. I thought.
You see
Yes,
Matt Evans' comment. Matt's comment. Plug it into a pile of poo, and Ed Sheeran music comes out.
Hey, yeah.
Mad.
What can I say? Was it the
Brilliant.
seashell that we bigged up?
Yeah, I think it was the Seashell, but I think I raised that as an instrument.
Yeah. Do you know, I sent them the award and everything. They've not even put it on their webpage.
Oh,
But I won't hold that against them.
no.
So there you go. Instru Pocket Sign, as demonstrated there by the wonderful Jason Jervis and Robbie 2.0. Here's one to get.
Oh, we've got a Robbie together.
Here's one to get Matt Evans a little moist around the gusset. This is, I don't know if you saw this. Acme Synthworks have been working on a Jupiter 8 clone. It's about 95% done. There is a video. Let's see if we can find. Here we go. Let's have a listen to this. So it looks like they've got a Jupiter 8 shell and they're recreating the internals. So this is genuinely analog. I mean, that video goes on for about 6 minutes. I think by minute 1, Matt's finished. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. But there's no idea about the price of it. But of course, you can get alternatives. But the Jupiter 8, I think, is having a bit of a resurgence in our consciousness. Lots of people talking about. I mean, I heard a rumor recently that there was going to be maybe something a bit more solid from the original manufacturers, but that never came to pass.
I'd heard the same rumor as well.
Well, it was you and somebody else, literally the other side of the world, on the same day, within about an hour of each other, contacted me and said, "I've heard this, but nothing's come to light yet." But who knows? I mean, it's just a rumor.
Acme have done a cracking job with that, by the way. It's amazing what they've got done so far. But he does mention on that actual YouTube video, in the description underneath it, what he's looking to do is he's working on a different role in synth at the moment that he wants to get finished.
Right.
Oh, he's working on the OB expander, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing something.
There was something else I thought was Roland.
Alpha Juno.
But he did say if he gets enough. Well, so he's got that there, but is that not done? Is that not finished?
Apparently not. It says I'm currently.
Maybe that's what it is. It's maybe that. He's maybe looking to finish that. Then maybe that's what it is. Yeah, you're probably right there, Andrew. Then.
Yeah. Again, no final pricing confirmed.
But he has said underneath that Jupiter 8 one that if he gets enough interest with this Jupiter 8, that he may consider doing a small number of them. He's not looking to do it like mass produce, but he may consider doing a small number of them, depending on.
Cheap, are they?
No.
No
way.
I mean, Ken. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of this. He says they're using the IR3109 chip for the filter, which was in the original, and it also lists the BA662.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It would be interesting if old Jupiter 8s could have some of these components.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah,
retrofitted,
transplanted in as with kidneys and stuff.
I can't see. He can't be using IR3109, surely.
Apparently, that's what he says, according to this article.
Not AS versions or something. He's actually using IR3109s.
Let me just find that piece in the article. If you're wondering what's inside, Acme is using the IR3109 chip for the filter, which was in the original. But it doesn't say whether it's a clone of that or whether. Yeah, it must. I'm sure it must be a modern day version of it.
Yeah, it's probably an AS Series 1 or something like that, which is why it doesn't quite sound like a JP8, but it's damn close.
It is.
But the 3109s are, rock and roll shit. You can't get them. You can't get hold of them for love nor money. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good move. But, it's one of those things where cloning those things, you got to have 4-year-olds working in a Japanese or a Chinese factory really to be able to get them for a price that people can afford.
Yeah,
it's those sort of things, isn't it? I mean, does he give any rough idea of the sort of pricing?
No. Steve Elbows has put his comment there that what he has in inverted commas, Steve's put it. This would be a high-end instrument manufactured on small scale, not a mass-produced project. Definitely not in the budget clone category.
But that's quite cheap, isn't it, these days?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I would. I mean, the thing is, the problem is he's got to hurry up because the price of parts are going up like nobody's business. So the price of this is going to go up.
Yeah.
And the price of JP8s is falling like a brick.
Yeah.
You can pick up a JP8 now for 12k.
Yeah.
And to be honest, really, really honest, I'd rather have the SFC 8 with the Mercury plug-in and a polyphonic aftertouch controller. That would be a better setup.
Yeah.
Because it's got all the stuff that the original was, unless it's got all that stuff in there, or any of the others really, but particularly the Mercury. I just think it's It's an odd one. It's an odd
I
one.
don't want to diss it, but I'm just saying he's doing this 4 years too late.
Yeah.
If he did it 4 years ago when they were fetching, I think the peak was 32k.
Yeah,
But that's one of my
32
restored
there or
ones,
thereabouts.
you know.
True.
But that's when they could come out, and if they were 10, people would be breaking their arm taking it off.
Is that because you were charging 32 grand for it?
No, I don't charge them.
That's what he charges to repair them.
Kent's restoration was
Hence
31.
restorations makes it 32
Yeah, no,
grand.
31,000.
everybody else makes money off of me because I've seen the adverts. It's all over Firma. Oh yeah, it was restored by KSR, therefore £8 billion. You know, it's like, oh, for crying out loud.
Brad from Isla Instruments, by the way, has just popped in to the chat, and obviously we didn't mention at all.
We did
one of the biggest things of SynthEast.
Oh yeah.
For God's sake.
Well,
What's wrong with
I
it?
don't want to see what I don't want to do is
What,
I
the
don't want to
bogs
burn
work?
through it because Brad and I had some long conversations, and not only is he going to be coming back on the show soon,
There you go.
but he's promised me some exclusive Caladan content over the coming weeks.
Oh, okay.
Under the counter. Under the
Yeah,
counter
I mean,
Caladan.
it was there. He had it there with the S2400. By the way, if you are looking like me to buy an S2400, I believe Brad is taking delivery of about. Did you say 250, mate? 250 of them around the end of March. So and that will obviously now be distributed from the UK, I imagine.
Yes.
But Brad's Caladan was there, and it looks really nice. It sounds very cool. Yeah,
The first time seen in public.
Yes, and I have also.
I was drunk when I said that, Robbie.
Yeah.
You weren't that drunk, mate. You weren't that drunk. So
What?
Caladan stuff will be coming. It was getting a little bit hot. It was quite funny because he had to take the side off and put these fans on it. But it's doing its thing and it's doing it very
Not
well.
quite
It's
as bad
very-
as the PPG.
No, quite. But he was very close. He's very close to kind of getting that to a point where hopefully he can start, getting that into people's hands. Caladan it was great. Actually, I mean, honestly, Brad, we've known Brad for ages. He's been on the show. He's a good friend of the show, good supporter, and it was just lovely to finally meet in person and press the flesh.
Yeah, likewise. I think.
Will he be coming to Synth Southwest?
Well, I have invited him, and hopefully
Brad.
we have.
Get
Come
in
on,
your
Brad,
motor,
It's
mate.
not that far. It's not that
Bring
far.
it down. Come
Jump
down.
on the train. It's a nice, easy train down from there to Exeter,
Yeah.
and then you just jump on the local train. So
Depends. Are they serving beer?
I'm sure they are.
That's
Sure
right.
they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we do get confirmation from Brad coming to Synth Southwest, we will let everyone know. But he will definitely be coming back on here because I will pester him until he does. But yeah, it's a cracking thing. And it was great to see it in the flesh.
Absolutely.
Along with that 2400, which he was doing some things on, I was like, yeah, I have got to have this. And so finally, I think this year is the year of the S2400. What's he saying here? Final board revisions this week. Got to spin up a few more and then think the beta testers will have them then.
Oh, are you
Hopefully,
beta
he wasn't that drunk when he put my name on that list.
I'm a beta tester.
So yeah,
I'm a Zeta tester.
Oh, come on, Mrs. Brad. Let him out. Let him out for a day. Down by the sea. Bring
Bring
family.
her.
It's a seaside
Get a
town.
hotel.
Yeah,
Get a
it's lovely.
hotel.
There's the sea
hotel and
seagulls
things.
and shit.
That's a div, Andrew.
She'll love
Get a
it.
hotel.
Yeah.
Loads of virgins standing around looking at gear.
You haven't been to the Southwest, have you?
Yarp. Yes.
And they call yeah.
Anyway, let's keep this back on track. Either is another big highlight of SynthEast and hopefully Synth Southwest. Thank you very much, Kissing the Machine. Much appreciated. Always good to see you. And thank you. I think Peter and I both have to say a massive thank you to Sean, who sticks around till the bitter end and helps us load out, which is always and load in as well. It's great.
I was of no help.
No,
I was ushered away by Starsky Car.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was great, and it's just always good to see all these lovely people.
Yes, definitely.
And There is. I mentioned about bringing, Mrs. P, but one thing that does strike me about SynthEast is there does seem to be a lot of couples, husbands and wives,
and kids,
and kids as well. Yeah, but there's a couple
really
whose
nice.
name escaped me. But we spoke last year, and I spoke with the good lady, and she was like really into it, and really, very. And it was just great to see. It's not just a whole bunch of smelly, hairy synth nerds. There's all sorts of people there too.
How very dare you?
Yes, it's very inclusive.
John Carter, I'm glad the Proteus. John had a problem with the power supply on the Proteus P2K, and we just had a few chats, and he's got it working. Well done, mate. Good.
Excellent stuff. Good.
$4.99 for cake. That's what I say.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a great day, and I hope that we can get somewhere close to the feel of that in a few weeks' time at SynthSouthwest. Thank you very much, Nick, for donating another membership. I don't know who got that. Let's see. We've also blimey,
Hand of Lenin.
Yes.
What? Hand of Lenin.
I just realised the Hand of Lenin has donated another £2. Thank you very much indeed. And John Carter as well, $4.99 for the Proteus. Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. It's much appreciated. Anyway, so we've got blimey, we've got about 8 minutes. I should have kept Mark on a little bit longer, shouldn't I? Because there literally is no other news. I don't think. Let me just double check my list. We've done Mark. We've done SynthEast.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what has come up this week. The Korg vibraty electroacoustic mechanical.
I had to
thing.
go on that.
Someone bought one, and they've been putting it up on the ProSynth Network channel. We've been seeing some videos of someone using it with nuts and bolts and springs and things attached. It's cake, but it's actually quite a good thing like that. He kind of opened my eyes to that, and I went, do you know what? Yeah. I know it's expensive and I know it's mad, but it is kind of a cool thing. It is.
So I had a go on.
Love it.
Now, whenever I go to Super Booth, Tats is there, and he's had these different iterations, and he had the last one there, and I just can't get close to it because there's always a little queue of people, and there's other things I need to be doing. So I actually managed to get hands on with it, and Jackie was with me, and she goes, "What's this then?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of an electroacoustic thing. It makes things vibrate, and it picks them up, and it synthesizes." But it was interesting that the sequencer thing was interesting, but the actual sound of it, there were stones there, and there were other things that you could place on the tines, and there was no cake, thankfully.
There was.
I didn't see the cake.
Yeah, there was a piece of chocolate brownie when I went to it.
I think somebody must have eaten that, or it had gone hard and I'd mistaken it for a rock.
Yeah, maybe you did. Didn't see a rock.
I applaud the ingenuity, I applaud the originality, but for me, I just didn't.
I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it was just really interesting seeing someone using it, and being mad enough to try to buy it in the first place and then use it in the way they did. There'll be a lot of e-mommery sort of people that will look at it and go, too expensive, but I think it's a really good experimental thing. I really do.
Oh, for the love of God! Oh, Jesus! Oh.
Someone's done a Jackson.
Bloody hell, that one was almost bloody sentient. Oh, man. Christ, on a bike.
You want the knob back, just plug it.
How you been eating, dog? It's awful. Jesus.
Anyway, if we can get back to the synthesizers.
The poached
it was
an
interesting thing, but I don't know. I think I'd like to see someone much cleverer and more inventive than I do something very special with it. And I will,
I wouldn't.
We'll look and see. Now then, Scott McAuley Sounds has donated some money to the fund just to hear me say "The Hand of Lenin" again. So there you go. I hope that was worth a tenner. I'll say again, "The Hand of Lenin."
I'll give you another tenner for that, though.
John's reminded me. This was news yesterday, I think. Syntact is bringing a sampling update, I believe.
Oh.
To its Electron. Yeah, Electron Syntax is getting a sampling update, we believe, through a leaked video via a firmware update. So I'm really not very au fait with the Electron gear. It's I know there are people that really swear by it, but if you've got one of those, you're going to get sampling, apparently.
It's nice, though, that the company's actually still providing updates.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Always been
very much so.
I've seen on one of the Synthy Facebook pages that people were saying, "Oh well, what's the point in adding sampling because it doesn't hold a memory card? How do you update it? How do you get the samples in there?" And someone went, "It connects by USB. You just send them via USB. Not difficult, It's like there's always someone that wants to complain about an update. It's like you're getting a new update for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, so it's really become quite desolate out there in the synth world in terms of new and exciting things. But where are we? We're about to enter March, April, May. Super Booth is here, and hopefully we'll have a lot more interesting.
There were 3 new products never seen before. Well, actually, maybe 3 never seen before at SynthEast.
Well, there was.
Caladan?
Caladan. Modular. So, Jason, their synthesizers, just because it goes over your head, doesn't mean you can't deny its authenticity.
Inform us, tell us, please do. We've got some minutes to spare.
That's what I'm trying to do. Oh, for God's sake, who's that sleeping?
It's not me.
Everybody. Listen. It's the only Welsh modular maker out there.
Tell more.
He's got a new. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a new module which is a ring modulator that was launched at the show. I haven't got authority. I will have one of those soon to test with with my system. We also had. I can't say too much about this man, but Jason Mayo, who do you remember this? Thunderbirds Ago, Dance Mix from 1990.
Oh God, yeah.
That's his album. He's now got a modular company called Nobula, and he released something which I can't talk about, but everybody saw it. So that was launched, but not quite launched.
But you can't talk about it.
Can't talk about it. Can't tell you.
But everybody saw it.
Everybody saw it. But
what about the CS90? What about the CS90? Was that there? The CS90?
What's that?
I
can't talk about it.
I heard a couple of things.
You said too much. You give us the swine. Hang on. What was the other thing?
Go on, Rob.
No, I've forgotten.
But I can't tell you. That's the thing.
See, you can't tell us.
I can't.
You can't tell us.
But this is bloody informative, isn't it?
No, I know. Yeah, there's stuff coming. I can't tell you
about
it.
But
what we didn't mention was that Starsky Carr brought this to do his jam with.
Wow.
This is the Elector Formant, which has been recreated by Erica Synth. So this was go and watch Alex Ball's video on this. It's brilliant. But basically, Elector came up with this plan of building a synthesizer, and you got the book, and you went through, and it had a bill of materials in there, and you went out and bought all the parts, and you built this thing by hand. It was a kit thing. And Alex has found an original one, and he did a whole video on it, but also he's doing that because Erica Synths have now recreated this, and you can buy this in kit form for either €2,300 with all the kind of custom parts provided, and you have to just go and source the generally available stuff, or if you give them another €700, bringing it up to $3,000, you can buy the entire kit and then build this yourself. And it's, I have to say, what Alex was playing on the original was sounded really, really nice. And I didn't really get to sort of hear much of what Starsky's was sounding like because it was kind of mixed in with what Steve was doing, and I didn't know which was which. And but it's a beast. It's a very nice thing.
It's very cheap.
Yeah, for what it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Was it 3 VCOs, 2 VCFs, a sequencer, a ring modulator, noise generator, dual VCAs, 2 of those.
Dual sample and hold.
Yeah, 3 envelope generators.
Voltage controlled
things,
LFO.
This is clearly influenced by the System 700. Nerd moment. It's using the System 700 font.
Oh yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But larger.
No, it's about right.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know what the original was, because this is a one-to-one kind of replica of the original back in 70. What was it? Early 70s, I think. No, 77. Yeah, it was 77. So yeah, the original could very well have been influenced by that, but it's a lovely thing. And Starsky had to actually lay it down. Yeah, he had to lay it down on its back.
No, I had to do that.
Oh, you did that.
That was my decision. Well, how else can we film it? He was expected to play it. It's like, well, if we put it here, no one can see you. If we put it to the side, then it blocks the camera. So it was like, how do you feel about playing it away from yourself? So it was really just an aesthetics decision. But yeah, I think
Go
he
and
did
watch
really
Alex
well.
Ball's video. Yeah, it's really good. Of course, Starsky also has a whole bunch of content on his channel with that. So
definitely can check that out as well.
Go and watch all of that.
Your
I
voice
wouldn't mind building one of them.
Yes, it's probably me.
Yeah. So we're now over time. We've done a show. There you go. I hope you've all enjoyed it. And great to have Mark Kelly on, and great to make his acquaintance. And hopefully we'll have him on when the new Marillion album's out, and we can talk to him about all of that stuff. Are we all doing anything exciting this weekend, or are you like me, just going to veg?
Kent's dog is modulating its ring by the look of it. But aside from that,
Noah's ring mod.
Oh dear.
I'm getting ready to jam in my gym jams on Sunday with Robbie 2.0 via a mitten.
Nice. Scott, you finish up your form sound pack?
Yeah, forum this weekend, so that's just sort of running through them all, and then that'll be me done with them, and then I'll decide which one I'm going on to next.
Yeah,
not the poly.
I told you this morning what you're going on to next. Volume 3 of your Polybrute 12 sounds. Yeah. No, seriously, I've moved the old girl back into it, and the Leviathan is now up on top. I haven't actually been playing with this for a good 6 months or more, and it's just so nice. Yeah, it's just such a wonderful synthesizer. But the thing I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a Polybrute 12 or even the Polybrute 6, please buy Scott sound, because they are effing brilliant. And I've just sat and composed 2 little bits that I'm going to hopefully try and work on maybe this weekend and expand, just based on Scott's patches, because they are not only do they sound good, they're very inspirational. So well done, sir. You are.
Thank you very much.
Yay!
Pretty good. I have to say, you are pretty.
Thank you very much.
And so that's what I'll be
doing.
Going
red now.
No.
But don't forget, Jason is on Sunday at what time?
10.
Or 10.
Am I going to start doing 9:30? I think I'm going to change the time to 9:30, just because it means I can get to bed reasonably ready for work on Monday.
Can I just let everyone know? I only found this out this afternoon. The Americans change their clocks for daylight savings time usually a week before or after they do in the UK. 3 weeks before this year.
Ooh.
They're doing it on March 8th. So literally in just over a week's time. So that means to our American viewers, if you're watching, the show will be 1 hour out. And I can't remember which way it goes.
Spring forward.
Yeah, but I mean the difference, whether they watching an hour earlier their time. Or no, they're
an hour closer to it. So it'll be 4 hours rather than 5 hours on the East Standard Time.
Yeah.
What I can suggest to all of our American friends is, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and then click the notifications bell. It doesn't cost you anything, and it makes sure that you won't miss a show. You won't come in an hour late and halfway through or anything, or get there an hour early or whatever it might be. So if you are in America and you don't want to miss that, please do just click that subscribe button and ring the bell. If anything, just to make sure you don't miss the show. And of course, it does us the power of good. We love it as well. It doesn't cost you anything. So, yeah, America is changing its clocks 3 weeks before the UK on March 8th, which is crazy. But there you go. Get rid of it. Daylight savings time. Don't need it.
Rain is coming in here like mad.
No.
Raining its arse
And
off.
please, can we stop with the rain in the UK? I think it's rained every day
Not enough
since. Yeah.
2 days now. It's
Too
doggy.
wet. I can't get one of my garage doors open. It's wooden and it's swollen.
I agree, Steve. Trouble time.
Anyway,
Yes.
that's it. That's a show. Gentlemen, thank you as always.
And Robbie
Much
2.0.
pleasure. Thank you, Robbie 2.0. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Noah, and your ring. And yeah, we'll see you all same time, same place next week for more shenanigans and hopefully a little bit of news to talk about. You never know, we might have a guest as well. But thank you ever so much for joining in. And I'm just filling here until I find the right button that's going to give me the thing that I want, which is right there. There we go. See you all soon. Take care.
Well played.
Bye.